Hey everybody, we are back. Welcome to another episode of Kinky Politics with your hosts, Kai and
Jordan.
Woo! Today's topic is Bill and Melinda Gates divorcing.
Or yay. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Why? So tell me why you think it's important. What do you think is going to be a major ramification from this?
First of all, I don't think it's important. I don't care. I'm really only talking about this because it's a current event and it's trending and it's part of our like thing right now. You know what I mean? To be sort of like all in the know about people we don't even really know. And also, I guess maybe the appeal of it is that like they've been together for so long. They're
25 plus years. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got kids together. They've got businesses together. They've got huge philanthropy, like huge nonprofits and organizations that they run together, that it's a little shocking to see that they've decided to divorce. You know, it's just kind of like they were an enterprise themselves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So to see that is kind of like, wow, what does that mean? You know, and I think, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, sorry. I think that, I forgot there's a delay, but I think that it's going to be interesting to see who is actually heading these businesses and these nonprofits, like who's really, you know, the driving force behind them. Because I think when they first got married, she made the decision just to be a stay-at-home mom. And now she is like a bona fide, like, boss
philanthropist.
Yeah.
Full time. Yeah. She helped runs the Gates Foundation full time as a co-chair. And I think since 2000, they've donated $54 billion to different other charities and organizations over the past. I think they started in 2000. So 21 years, $54 billion. Which is crazy. And apparently they're going to still both co-chair the Gates Foundation. So like their work is going to stay the same. They're just kind of going their separate ways, you know? And it's always interesting, like, why after 25 years? Like, you know, 3 kids, these billion-dollar businesses, all this philanthropy, it's like, why? Is it just, you know, and whatever the reason is, obviously it's important, you know, to them, and it's valid for them to divorce. But I'm always curious, like, what is it that suddenly after 25 years you're like, I don't think I want to wake up next to you or share a home or a family with you anymore, you know?
I 100% agree. And actually, you're so right. I think the way you put that is like crazy. It's like, I don't want to wake up next to you. I don't want to share a family with you. I know we've had kids, but goodbye.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy
but
the
they're still going to work together too. That's the other thing. So it's like, it sounds like it might be an amicable kind of divorce. I mean, their kids are like in their 20s, like early 20s. So it's like, it's not like their kids are in their 40s, you know, or something like that. You know, it's still like, how are we going to do Christmases? Is it going to be together? You know what I mean? It's hard for me to even fathom that, you know?
You know, Jordan, I think that this is a really interesting, where you've sort of segued this is really interesting, because I feel like a lot of people in that generation got married pretty quickly, like young. And I also feel like a lot of people in that generation got married without really knowing who they are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100% agree. Yeah.
Because you know, it's like I'm still sort of figuring that out, and I'm 35, you know?
And I mean, it's like, do we ever really figure ourselves out? Are we always evolving? But yeah, it's like, but you're right. Like back then, when they got married young, I mean, good Lord, I didn't even come to be the person I am today until I was like 25, 27, you know? And when you get
Yeah.
married at 18 or 20 or even 23 or before 25, it's like you
What's
still don't know who you are and what you want in life or what questions you should be asking your partner, even, you
Mhm.
know, before you get married, you
Yeah.
know?
You don't even know what to ask yourself. It's like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're evolving. I also too as a body of people, and we're getting smarter.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just looking for love. We're looking for partnership. And I think
Mm-hmm.
um
And equity and equality, you know, totally. Because like before, like gender roles are even different than 20 years ago,
yep.
you know, 30 years ago. They're completely different. I mean, as far as splitting, um, you know, whose career is important. Like, you know, I know in Amy and I's relationship, it's pretty much the same where we're trying to support each other in our careers and stuff. It's not like, oh, you stay home and you're going to be the mom and stay at home. And
Yeah.
we've never done that. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to realize that they don't want that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Um there's a couple of you know, yeah, and there's like, you know, my dad said to me, because I used to ask these questions about marriage all the time, because I really, as a kid, did not understand it. Like I would always be like, well, how can you only be with mom? Or how, you know, I'd ask my mom, I'd be like, how can you only be with dad? Like, don't you have a crush on somebody else? You know? Or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was really confused as a child for years. And I don't know if my brothers or my sister had the same sort of feelings or sentiments about it, but it took me a long time to settle into the idea of marriage. And what ended up happening with me and Kirk is he was my friend first before he was really my lover. I dated him first, but
Mm-hmm.
I really got to know him. You know, like I really got to know him. Like
It's funny because I know nothing. I didn't know anything about Kirk until you said you were getting married.
I know, you know, I like to keep the shit a surprise.
And did you post a lot like pictures of you guys before, like a lot, like getting married and stuff? Have we just been that out of touch for a couple of years? Like, because
Yeah,
you've been how
I
many?
did post. I post a lot on Instagram though, not really on Facebook. Are you
Okay.
more like active on
Oh,
Facebook?
yeah. See, I'm more of a Facebook person than I'm an Instagram person, so it's probably that. Like, I don't even check Instagram very
Okay.
often. You know, like I only check it because Amy's on it. Like, she prefers Instagram to Facebook,
Yeah.
so
Oh my gosh.
maybe
You're gonna
that's why
be
I missed it all. I don't even, yeah, I didn't even know if I was following you up until, you know, the past year or two because I was on it
yeah.
so little, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed you're a Facebook guy. That's why I said it. I'm like, he's not on Instagram. He's just bullshitting over there with all of his businesses and
I'm an old
acting like,
fogey. I'm an old Facebook fogey.
yeah, you
Just getting
are.
started on the Instagrams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
But getting back, yeah, on Bill and Melinda Gates, it's interesting. Like, okay, so I think they're in their 50, like late 50s, maybe early 60s. Echo, how old is Bill Gates?
Bill Gates is 65 years old.
He's 65.
Born on October 20th,
Echo, stop. Sorry, I love using Echo all the time. So he's 65.
Same age as
And
my
I'm sure
dad.
she's not that much old. Like, she's probably around the same age. So it's like mid 60s, almost 70s, you know. It's like, do they still want to start like
A new relationship.
yeah, like a new relationship? Or do they want to be kind of single-ish? Like it's just kind of interesting. Like, what do you do?
You know, my dad also told me, my dad told me like, because you know, when I was saying like asking my parents about like how come they're like together, like, you know,
Mhm.
whatever, he goes, you know, when you get married young, it's an opportunity for you to grow with your partner, alongside your partner. And getting
Mm.
married helps you to mature. And getting married and having kids helps you to grow. And so you
Mm.
grow with your partner. And you know, when I look at my parents' relationship, I really feel like they grew as individuals, but they kind of grew apart. And, you know, you remember Deke, you know, my ex-boyfriend,
Yeah.
his parents would sleep in different bedrooms. And one time I asked about it, like, you know, with him and his sister. I'm like, it's so crazy. You know, your dad like sleeps on the couch and your mom sleeps in her own bed. Like, that's wild, you know? And she's like, she goes, well, I think at like 50, you know, at the time, I think at like, you know, 59, they can do whatever the hell they want. Like they deserve, she said they deserve to sleep in separate bedrooms. And my mind was like, they deserve, almost as if it was punishment, having been married and sleeping in the same room. And, you know, they lived a lifetime of hell together or some shit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it looked like they
Yeah.
got along.
Like during the day, they got along.
Yeah. You know? So I tend to think that it really is centered around this, not centered, but one of the things is the lack of knowing who you are and then growing at different times
Mm-hmm.
and growing apart. And I feel like those of us who got married a little bit later had more of a foundation and an idea as to who we are and what we want.
100% agree. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people I knew in high school that got married right away, I mean, they almost, I'd say at least half of them, and I think that's being generous, divorced pretty quickly or a few years later, or, you know, and it can work out sometimes, but it's also like, I'm a very different person right now than when I was 18. Just the things I thought, you know, there's a lot that's very different, you know, and so I can't imagine like some of the people I knew from high school that got married, like, no, I will say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, people do it for different reasons. Like, I knew this one girl that, I mean, I understand why she got married. Her mom committed suicide. Her dad died of cancer, and her brother got incarcerated, her younger brother. So it's like, she didn't have a family anymore, and she desperately wanted a family. Now, did she choose the right person to start an early family with? No, she chose a douche, basically. Yeah. But like, I understand that reason for wanting to get married. You know, early. She just didn't choose someone that was worthy. You know,
it's interesting. It's like I do understand it. Like in my mind, I'm like, yes, I would probably do the same thing too, because that she's really searching for identity.
Something to hold on to in family. Yeah.
You can really only in the beginning find that in yourself. And I'm finding that, but I'm realizing that now that like identity is you. It's not really your family as much as we feel that way. It's not, you know. You said something which I think is really important to address is that they're older. They're old. And I think part of the appeal of marriage is knowing that through sickness and in health and in death, you'll have companionship.
Companionship. That was the exact word I was thinking as you were talking. I was like, yeah. So it's like, I guess they didn't want to be companions anymore, but it's like, do they want new ones, or do they just want to go it alone with their swim in their money, which will make up for that companionship, or what, you know? It's going to be interesting. But, you know, Mackenzie Bezos divorced recently too, and has taken her bucket of money that she got from, you know, that divorce, and has become probably the most prolific philanthropist in the world. This one story I read recently, I forget if it was like Salon or Atlantic or Washington Post. I think it was Washington Post, actually. But the story was, there's this woman, and she ran a college for Native Americans, right? And so it was a college on a reservation, and they had started recently and were doing great, but they obviously didn't have a lot of money, you know, as a new college that was serving the community. And she gets this call one day out of the blue. And the call is basically like, hey, you know, someone wants to make a large gift to your school, but they want to learn more about you and like what you would do with that gift. And so the woman wrote up all the things she'd do with it and how it would be amazing for the school and stuff. And then she got a response like, that's all great. I think this is gonna go through. Here's like, I forget how much money it was, but it was a sizable gift. It was like almost $10 million, I think. And it was from Melinda Gates, because she has searched out for LGBTQ, women's, you know, basically all the underserved human beings on this planet that aren't white males, and is looking to donate to organizations that, you know, help make things more equitable, more equal, and give more opportunities to those groups of people. So, I mean, I could see Melinda Gates doing something similar. You know, I mean, they already do a crazy important work with the Gates Foundation. There was this one thing that I was reading that since they started their work, the Gates Foundation, in the year 2000, child deaths in third world countries around the world before the age of 5, so people that are born and die before the age of 5, has been cut in half since they've started their work.
Oh my.
So it's like millions of children already through their vaccines, and they're like, because they're trying to eradicate some of the more common diseases like malaria, just different things that are easily preventable, like in first world countries, but are rampant in third world countries. So like, what other organization can have a claim like that?
Yeah.
You know, where you've saved millions of lives, you know, already in the 20 years they've been around.
It's so powerful. It is so powerful. But you know, it's like, we didn't know who, what's her first name? Bezos' first name?
Oh, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie. We didn't know who Mackenzie Bezos was until we found out she was divorcing Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I guess what I'm fully trying to say is that to put the whole, like, why are they divorcing type of things, I feel like to put it all full circle is, you know, we have found our identity pretty clearly, you know, not clearly, but like, not found our identity, but we found sort of more of a purpose and are growing, I think, and evolving in the identity, but feel grounded a bit more than probably, I don't know, I would feel like with, I can't remember her damn name.
Mackenzie Bezos.
Mackenzie. I feel like she might feel she's been living in her husband's shadow, you know? And she's been a philanthropist for a while, but we really haven't heard about her in the media for real, you know? She hasn't been a common person.
You're right, because I bet before it was like, oh, the Bezoses have done this, and it probably was really her that was like doing the donations, because it's like, what has Jeff done? You know, I mean, I know he donates and Amazon donates stuff, but like, has he done it on the scale? I don't know how much money Mackenzie gave away, but it was a lot of money. Like, I think it was $5 billion this past year.
Yeah.
And Jeff barely fucking pays his employees a livable wage. So it's like, you know, anyway, he has a lot of work he has to do, I think, to get in the good graces. But yeah, you're right. It's like, she's able to step out of his shadow, be her own person, and start to make her own legacy. outside
Yeah.
of his, you know,
It's
and
empowering.
it is totally empowering. And you're right. I think Melinda Gates wants to do probably the same thing. She wants to have her own it because I mean the Gates Foundation, you know, most people think of Bill probably first,
Definitely.
and now she'll be able to do her own thing and get probably the credit she deserves that she may or may not have been getting as part of the Gates
Yeah.
Foundation. You know.
Yeah. I tend to feel that way, and especially because, like, I think I did mention earlier that she chose to be a stay-at-home mother while, you know, her Melinda anyway, while her and while Gates just, you know, while Bill just like killed it, you know, and it's like it's very clear that she can kill it. She's a
Mm-hmm.
bona fide businesswoman too, and you know, I can't help but feel like maybe these women and these men are stepping into who they really are and really want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at a place where they don't have time, or they feel they may not have time to continue to share that with the person that they started with, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really humbling to think, because it's not as if I don't think that I think there was love between them, you know? I think there was
Mm-hmm.
genuine love between those couples. And
Yeah.
I always kind of feel like, oh, you know, when someone divorces, you know, sometimes it's really positive. Oftentimes it's really
Mm-hmm.
positive when people divorce too. So I'm not trying to say that, but, you know, we have a family friend who actually came to the wedding. You might have met her. Um, she got divorced when she was 70 from
Wow.
her husband.
Yeah.
And they still visit each other. They still hang out, you know, once a week. They live down the block, but they don't want to live with each other. And I don't inquire about it, but I
Yeah.
think it's fascinating. Um, and I guess I'll never know why, but that's the only thing I can really wrap my head around is identity. Because if you're comfortable with yourself and your identity and what you bring,
Mm-hmm.
you can pretty much get along with anyone, like
Mm-hmm.
on a base level.
Mm-hmm.
So why not the person that you spent most of your time with? I mean, you're already towards the end of your life for most of these people who we're speculating, right? Who we're talking about right now are divorcing. So it's like, why wouldn't you enjoy the last, I don't know, 10 to 30 years that you have anyway, right? But
Sure.
I don't know, maybe or, you know, there's also a part of me that thinks sometimes like, oh, what if this is like publicity stuff? You know, what if they're getting divorced for, you know, papers or paperwork, but they're actually still married, they're still functional, and you know, I don't know. The world is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. And if they were more like B-list celebrities who didn't have billions of dollars, that you know, I might believe that. But I feel like this divorce is more of like we're 60, mid 60s. I want to be truly happy, and I don't want to be tied to someone that doesn't make me happy. You know what I mean?
But you see, we've
I don't.
got
I
this
feel like it's more
assumption.
genuine.
We've got this assumption. This is what I mean too with like celebrities. Is we've got this assumption that they operate like real people. They have giraffe money. They don't even talk on the level that we talk. You know what I mean? They talk on
Mm-hmm.
a level which I can't even comprehend. I remember, you know, one of these friends. I remember going to one of her houses in Indiana, one of her houses. Yeah, she had several of them, but I went to one house and I had a panic attack because I couldn't at all relate to the size of the house, to the size of the food, to the size, like I didn't even, I talk all the time and I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And I had a panic attack, and her
Mm-hmm.
dentist father was like, you're okay. You're going to be fine, you know, and I left like, you know, but anyway, all I'm trying to say is like, you know, it could be what if it's part of a mission that they have, and they realize that if we get divorced, it will do this, it will do that, it will do that. It may also increase our blah, blah, blah. It may also, Fox News put up one time a post saying how the deaths of Black men have affected the stock market positively. I know that it sounds like it's completely like out there, but hear me out. What I'm trying to say with that is like, sometimes I feel that there are other things at play, which people that are ordinary like us may not understand how top players actually operate in the world.
See, I also think it's a lot of the opposite. I think it's also all those people aren't that much different. Yeah, like, is the money different in lives and what it buys? Sure, but do they have the same problems at the end of the day? Like, as far as trying to find connection with someone, trying to find happiness and purpose, I think that's all the same. They still have to poop. They still got to pee. They still got to eat some food. Like,
no, they've got the basic functions as us, but I think their problems are different. Yes,
relationships though, but like relationships, no, I think it's the same. I think that's why all these people, whether it's Bill Gates and Melinda, or Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie, or Joe Schmo down the street, it's like no one ever gets divorced because they're happy. They get divorced because something's not working. And I think a lot of the problems, like, they get divorced because the connection isn't there. And I think that's a basic human thing, I mean, everyone that gets divorces because for whatever reason, that connection isn't there, And I do know, so I don't know any famous rich people, but I do know someone who is like 1% of 1% super rich. And I actually talk to him, not like super regularly, but like, he's a private person, so I don't want to like get into his thing. But even as a 1%er, a lot of his problems, like within his family, are the same fucking exact problems as everyone else. He just has a couple tens of hundreds of millions of dollars.
But they're on a larger scale.
They are. Their life is on a larger scale, but
this is why I'm saying, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, just like the royal family. Like,
oh God, don't get me started. That's a whole nother
I know,
episode.
But it's like, I don't understand what the hell's going on there. I don't get it. From Meghan to Harry to William to Kate to Diana to Charles, I don't really get it. But their problems are not my problems. That's not my problem. Like, no, I'm not. No, like that.
But I'll say this though: there are problems like that they have that you can totally relate to.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes.
Like, I mean, some of the problems she's going with now.
Yes.
Being married to a white dude, and coming into a family, and I mean, I don't know anything about Kirk's family, but I'm sure like there are things that she's experienced that you might have experienced too.
100%.
And that 100%. It's that kind of like,
I see.
Doesn't matter how royal you are, how rich you are, you're still gonna, if you had, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
you're right.
And plus, like the tension between the brothers, over different things, like that's lots of brothers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot more in common. We have a lot more in common with these people than we don't have in common with them. They just have a lot of money and a lot of exposure to the press, and social media.
Okay. All right. I'll give that to you. I mean, look, guy in grad school, you mentioned like, most people divorce for loss of connection, but also most people, yes. But, like one of my guys in grad school told me he was married, and I was like, bitch, you're married? What the, and he's like, yeah, I'm married. And I'm like, how come I've never met your wife? And he was like, oh, that's because we don't live together, and I just married her because she was going to give me money for a green card. And so they divorced, 3 years later. And I was like, I think it's common. We hear about that a lot, where, and immigration officers are always trying to catch people with this shit, because it's real, and it's why you have to go through the scrutiny of like, send us photos of your relationship and videos and, all that. I mean, I don't know, because I had to go through it, but like, it wouldn't be such a process if weird shit like that didn't happen. So, so there's still, I'm hearing you out, but there's a little, for me, it's a larger scale. So there could be a little bit of, let's check it out, there could be, there could be a little bit of strategy.
No, there are definitely, there that exists in the world. I won't deny that element does not exist, because it totally does. There are some bigger things than we can think of, or you know what I mean, that are out there
that we know. You're 100% right. And on that note, shall we call it a day?
Let's do it. So like and follow us and share us, Kinky Politics, and we'll see you at the next episode.
See you then.
Oh my God, orange is not my new black.